Well, in this video I'm back into this Stihl MS440 that a few videos back you see me working on here, the one with all the aftermarket parts. I was running it the other day and I noticed something didn't quite feel right about it. Like I figured, these cheap aftermarket kits start giving you trouble sooner rather than later. This one seems to be, so far the crank hasn't blown out of it. But I noticed the compression was building and building and getting better and better, and it was absolutely excellent. And then all of a sudden the compression started going a little bit the other way. It started getting to be a little less and less. So I kind of figured something was going on. I went ahead and pulled the muffler and I seen some scratch marks, not bad score marks, but an awful lot of scratch marks on the exhaust side of the front of the piston. So I decided not to use it anymore. Earlier this evening, I went and pulled the cylinder off of it and confirmed my suspicions. There's starting to be just a tiny bit of aluminum transfer, no real scoring, but it's this combination of this cheap cylinder. There's, like I said originally in the original video, there was some weird, on the exhaust side here, all the way up, there's weird potch marks underneath the plating. Very poor machining, or after the machining, I don't know. It was basically a cull cylinder, should have been chucked in the scrap bin, and they decided to send it on through. Even for you know, cheap Chinese standards, usually they are a little bit fussier than that, so that's absolute garbage. But the piston, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here on camera. It's got scratch marks all up on the top crown part and about halfway down. Right at the very bottom of the skirt there's nothing. And this piston, I double checked it, and it appears I used first just a regular caliper, and I went ahead and got one of these sizing caliper, whatever, I don't know what exactly you call it, but I do have an old one here for taking measurements and sizes on stuff. And what I figured, this piston is actually egg-shaped. How do you machine, even mass machining pistons, and end up with a lopsided or egg-shaped piston? If it's being run through a computerized milling or lathing system, you think that it would be completely trued and round, but it's not. It, like I say, the sides are one width, and if you go turn it and go front to back, it's wider on the front face side. So that's why it's creating a clearancing issue, and it's rubbing up against the exhaust, and it has to of course be on the exhaust side of the piston. So what am I going to do with it? I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it. I'm just going to take some emery clot and sand the front side of the piston down a bit to create a little bit better clearance, and screw it, put it back together and let her run again. I will also say I noticed there's kind of a weird wear pattern on these piston rings, because they're a softer, usually these these cheap no-name brand aftermarket piston rings, they will wear out a lot faster than say a Caber ring or even an OEM ring. They're just they break in quick. That's why I picked up compression so fast, but they also wear at a very fast pace. Well, so what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to shut the camera off here, and off camera I'm just going to take and sand the front of the piston, take out these rub and scratch marks here, where, like I say, it's obviously a clearancing issue. It's not an oiling issue, it's not an overheating issue. There was lots of two-stroke oil mix on the big end of the rod bearing. Actually, you could see the blue oil inside there. And there was a couple drops in the bottom of the crankcase. Not a whole excess, a bunch, but fair enough. And my spark plug is a nice, won't show probably where crap on the lighting on the camera here, but it is a nice dark brown, actually almost to the side of being a little too rich. So it's not a running too lean issue, it's not an air leak issue. It was running stable when I had it up and running. So all I'm going to do is, like I say, sand up the piston, give it a good going over, and create a little bit of relief clearance, and put it back together and see what happens. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll bring you back here when I get piston cleaned up and probably when I'm already got the cylinder back on assembled. I need to concentrate and not be talking on camera when I assemble to make sure that I don't miss a step and screw something up. So got the piston cleaned up and best I could and got it back on there. Just rolled it over here half a dozen times and already I can see there's some fine scratch marks starting again on the front of the piston. So I don't know what the hell is going on. It's obviously, like I say, some sort of a clearancing issue. No, there's no jagged edge on the exhaust port, because I will say that those scratch marks extend out around the edges of the piston past the exhaust port. They go quite a ways out, almost up to the upper transfer ports. And no, they're not. There's no piston skirt at that point, but the top of the crown of the piston is getting scuffed and rubbed. If it doesn't do any more than that, a few little scratches here and there is no big deal. That happens on any saw. But I think this is going to be a reoccurring theme on this thing, because, like I say, it's just not manufactured right, and it will never be right. I think I'm just going to, if I do change the top end, I'll just pick up another cheap kit, and hopefully that one will be machined right, because some of them are and some of them aren't. And this one is already, like I say, the piston is out of round, the plating, the cylinder itself has rough spots or potch marks in it, so there's nothing you can do with it. It's gonna keep eating itself up no matter what I do. We're just gonna run it, and this time I probably won't go ahead and pull it apart. I'm just gonna run it the way it is and let it go till it either blows or it beds itself in, and whatever it's gonna do, it's gonna do. One other little side note here before I button this up is I went ahead and of course pulled the air filter off. I've run about 4 or 5 tanks of gas through this saw since I first got it going. Not a whole lot, just breaking in nicely, and then this crap started. But I will say the air filters on these saws, this one is now needing cleaning, but they also suck a lot of fines through these filters. I checked all around the outer edge of the filter, and over here all the mating surfaces, there's no dust coming in here. It is literally pulling it in through the media of the filter, and it's getting into the intake track. There was quite a bit in here. No scoring, scratching or anything on the intake skirt of the piston. Just I noticed it's ingesting a lot of dirt. Stihls were known for this in many of their saws for many years, in their older ones, and even some of their newer ones now are still those of you that run them know what I'm talking about. So I find it kind of interesting that everybody's crapping all over Husqvarna's new saw 564 XP that just came out, saying that it's eating dirt like crazy. Yeah, obviously guys are showing that's what it's doing, but they will improve filters as time goes on, and they will offer more options. Husqvarna always has. The 372s and 365s and 359s and 357s and all their Johnson Red counterparts, they all over the years came out with one type of filter, and by the time production was in swing for a while, they ended up with sometimes 3 and sometimes 4 different filter options, with anything from 30 micron up to 65 micron. They usually had 3 different types of nylon filters, and they even had a fleece flocked filter for extremely dusty, dirty conditions. So I would say I'm sure they'll be coming up with a filter, different style or types of filters for these new 564s at some point. So everybody needs to quit crapping all over one brand or the other, because Stihl themselves had a lot of dirt ingestion problems in their filtration over the years in many of their saw brands. So I find it kind of funny that the Stihl fanboys are laughing at Husqvarna and, like I say, trying to talk shit. It's been a long-standing problem in many of the Stihl saws over the years themselves. So anyways, that's all I got to say about that for now. So anyways, gonna get this buttoned up, and then I'll show you here when I got it all closed back up here. Back together once again. For how long it's going to run, I have no idea. Gonna let the sealer set up there under the cylinder again for a day or two before I run it. Get it back out in the wood and get it up and going again, and we'll just keep on plugging along, and I ain't gonna worry about it anymore now. Just gonna let it go till she blows. Just wanted to see how it was doing, and not doing as well as I'd hoped it was, but well, anyways, we'll just run it for what it is and however long it lasts. So if we get a few cords or many cords, who knows how much it'll cut before it gives it up. But probably not going to play with this too much more now. Just going to leave it be and see what it does. Anyways, we're going to call this a video. Just like to say thanks everybody for stopping by once again, seeing what I've been up to in this video, and we'll see you all in the next one.